Wikipedia came out, I'm sure some of you know Encyclopedia Britannica. You know, it was a measure of the quantum of knowledge in some families. When you see it, you feel intimidated, something is happening. So when they came out, the Encyclopedia Britannica started to produce in CDs just to match the development. Shortly after, they were not able to cope. They now issued a press release and said that we acknowledge we do not subscribe to the wisdom of the crowd. We believe that knowledge, although we appreciate collaboration, we do not subscribe to the wisdom of the crowd. So we expect that people who want to make inputs into the knowledge process should make submission to a team of experts who will vet within 48 hours. They will publish. After that, the rest is story. The rest is history. Wikipedia, you know encyclopedia, and it's gone. And what I think we should be very, very humble about is that there is so much to learn. There's so much to learn. A lot of things have changed. It's always comfortable to recite the same old poem, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But there are a lot of poems that have come out since then, which we need to learn. I personally, in my workspace, I experience it every day. You need to be a nomad of the mind. You need to be very, very nomadic about learning so you can understand what has happened and what is happening. And many more will happen. Because I know that sometimes there's this tendency for us to assume that the digital space will soon expire. Things will go back to the more you think that it will expire, the worse it gets. Before we are talking about Internet of Things, we're not talking about robotics. So who knows the next? So whether it is purpose, whether it is teaming, whether it is emotional intelligence, whether it is attitude, the fact is that we are in the era of data. Data is the real oil. It enables you to, and which is why people talked about HR. HR must be challenged to begin to face the issue of employee analytics. Employee analytics profiles Emilia, for instance, to know who she is beyond employee or beyond their gender and their age. People have capabilities that are not known because the system is not designed as a co-creation enterprise. So if we are business leaders, it's not about salary. Like I said, you can achieve so much with salary. And let me also, my research does not suggest that longevity is what you should be focusing more on. Forget about longevity. People who see longevity as a measure of employee, organizational success, they are failing, they're deceiving themselves. There is no longevity. Invest in the ecosystem. The staff that leaves you today may come back tomorrow with a better skill. So it's not so much about what I do to stop the person from moving or to make the person stay long. Stay long. There's nobody that's staying long. People make millions in 3 days. They're talking about staying long. So we should also be able to invest in the millennials in a way that we see beyond the organization. The fears are not real. The fears are exaggerated. I was traveling some time ago and I passed, somebody showed me, I think is it Kennedy Ejukwu or Young Shagru's places. Everything was gone. It was like, is it the whole thing about, most of the guy talked about, some people are stuck with their businesses and they're saying that the thing failed because it's not, we really need to open up a lot more and see what we can do. Sorry, I wanted to say something.
Okay, just to say a final word. I think what everyone has said here, I can just put it, in a very short way. We all know Jack Welch. Jack Welch in 1980-81, when he took over GE, the first thing he did, which he sustained over 2 decades, is going around the company globally, engaging, listening to every employee of GE. And that's the bottom line of all we have said. Engagement, listening to people. That's the only way you can understand both the baby boomers, Generation X, and so forth and so on. So once employers do not do that, HR in Nigeria especially is a disaster. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the reality. So if Jack Welch could do that. And you could see what happened today. I don't think there's any CEO in the world that has, surpassed what Jack Welch was able to do, because he engaged all the way till he left GE. So that's just the bottom line. Engagement, consistently, letting people have voice. That's the way to go.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that we're going to be wrapping up really soon. I just want us to quickly address two issues. And one of them will be the conversation we just had about, somebody made a reference to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. And I'm thinking about that conversation, thinking about, Facebook is one of the most profitable companies in the world today. We can't deny that. You have to also think about how they employ. They prioritize skill and innovative thinking over the years of experience. But if you consider that and the fact that Facebook is a primarily digital economy or a digital company, if you compare that to businesses like or lines of work like medicine and engineering, do you think that employee innovation could possibly be industry specific?
Not really about industry. Again, it's also defined, Sidney Sheldon says, who is a villain? It depends on who's defining all of this. The definition is actually, what they call definition of terms, those who do research. The definition is also what matters in all of this. It's not industry specific. Why it seems industry specific is because the innovation language has been hijacked by technologists. Technology, even in the Greek meaning, it's about arts and crafts. It's not about machine and server. It has been hijacked. So people who ordinarily should be able to submit themselves to coming up with great ideas have disempowered themselves. And it has been institutionalized in some places where there are departments of technology and innovation. So what does it tell you? If you are not... Mark Zuckerberg is also a case of a global citizen who understood and took advantage of, who saw a vision and created things that reflect the new era. I will always draw people. There's a company called, some of you must have heard about the Dabawalas in India. Have you heard about it? Dabawalas in India, who their job is basically they move food around for people. They are based in Mumbai. They have been as analog as ever, and they have been very successful over the years. They have not failed. Innovation can be as simple as I run a restaurant. I discover that customers are not coming. It may be the arrangement of the seats. And it begins to scale it to business value. It's actually, like I said, it's about ideas embodied to scale of business value. It's not just about having brilliant ideas. So it is not specific to sector. Again, that is part of the propaganda. Like I said, people need to, within the workspace, you don't need to be digital for it to be innovative. Innovativeness starts from even defining what does innovation mean to you. Some people don't even have a definition of what innovation is. They're just thinking that it's a missionary journey.
Please be patient with us. We're going to be playing you a video in a moment. I just want one more question, and that's because we realize that in today's world, a lot of complaints or a lot of concerns have been that these millennials don't stay in an establishment for more than 2 or 3 years. I was reading an article by Carl Moore and Sienna Zampino of Forbes, and they said, and I'm going to quote them, giving your young employees, millennials, a purpose will enable them to envision a future with your company. They said young people are on an endless search for happiness. So if an organization is unable to map out a road plan, a purpose of employment, it would unfortunately notice a high 0 to 2 year turnover. And that brings me to the point of the belief that the modern day employee cannot hang around a company for more than 2 or 3 years. Do you think that even if organizations can fully engage this innovative spark in employees, it's just a race against time to squeeze as much value as they can out of these employees for those, 2-3 years? Or do you think that this model that you're referring to can actually get employees to commit for the long haul?
The employee marketplace proposition is not focused on longevity. Those when we were in primary school, they said security of tenure, longevity is part of the value of working in the service and all that. It's not so much about longevity, like I said. People who build their strategy around how long you will stay I think they are working on quicksand. There is no, with the level of knowledge, resources available, if they do not have opportunity to live their life within the organization, if they cannot find purpose within the organization, if they do not work in a system where they are able to collaborate, communicate, and have a very complementary community, they are going to live. So I think most of the doctrines, with due respect, again, most of these great ideas are not responding to the era. The era has been totally disrupted and disintermediated. It's not so much about the brilliant ideas of the past. The people are saying that most of the disciplines and courses you need to study in university to be relevant do not exist. People are busy studying expired courses in universities, for no fault of theirs. So there are a lot of things that are changing because they are holding on to the past that their parents told them. The era of missionary employees is gone, and I have no apologies about that. The era of missionary employees is gone. It's about what you bring to the table. And most times, even when we interview people, we're asking them, what are you bringing to the table? Is it that we don't mean it? Before, it used to be, how qualified are you? Blah, blah, blah. We ask, what are you bringing to the table? Don't you hear it sometimes? Yes. It means that it's a co-creation journey now. So it's not about, the Mark Zuckerberg thing is not, it doesn't speak so much to whether it is it's not industry specific. It's about having a broad view of innovation. The innovation conversation is not properly, it's not tidy. It's not about disruption. It's not every time you must, it's not really about disruption all the time. It could just, like I say, it could be orchestrating the known, improving the already existing thing. So, but once you create environment of communication, collaboration, and community, great ideas will surface. There's nobody that's not a talent. Great ideas will surface in the organization, and there will be a lot of changes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nduneche Ezurike, we want to thank you very much for putting this together. Please, can you put your hands together for him?